Well, thank you. Again, for the record, my name is Greg Roy, Ducharme Dillis, and I'm here with the applicant, Walter Erickson, and actually the owners here, Mr. Henry as well, in the audience. So I wanted to give you, I'm going to move back.
Yeah, so we can all see it. Just.
Thanks. Sorry. So I wanted to give you a quick overview of where we've been and where we're going. A few things have evolved since we've been here last. The last time we were here, we had some discussion. We had received the comments from Fred Hamway. We'd received the comments from Eric, your staff. We'd received an email from Conservation Commission, and we sort of acknowledged those and told you we'd be working towards addressing those comments. Subsequent to that, you had asked us actually in a subsequent email to lay out a proposed alternate showing an alternate location for the driveway, which I've done. And then we also received an email correspondence from Ms. Remington about some issues related to the retaining wall location and things that I just wanted to acknowledge this evening. We've done their opening hearing is next, so we'll be going through that process concurrently here. So other important things to note: Fred Hamway, I think as you're aware, is on vacation at the present time until the 25th of March, from my understanding. So we were not able to circle this back through with Fred. So what I'm going to be giving you tonight is sort of an update on our progress with addressing his comments, and then what I really would like to talk to you about is I'd really like to get the alignment nailed down. So I'd like to present to you the alternative that we have, and as you requested, and just I guess ask. We would still very much appreciate the requested waiver for the first few hundred feet, just to follow the existing driveway, and we can go over that a little bit more in detail. I feel a little bit embarrassed. I had several of these handouts to submit to you, and I left them in the office. But I have one here that you can pass around. This is a exhibit that shows a compliant driveway. And just for the benefit of the audience, let me just go over the layout here, horizontally and vertically. The common driveway regulations, not the bylaw, but the regulations, requires that the center line of the driveway be set 25 feet from the exterior property line of the development. We're requesting that to be 12 feet so that we can use the existing opening of the driveway, so we can basically come in at the same point. Your bylaw.
1 second. So you're saying this proposal here is coming in at the same where the driveway is?
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
For this house.
So it would be it would be an improvement. We'd have to widen it per your regulations. You require 50 feet of width here. You require a staging area that tapers from 20 feet down to 12 feet. And some things like that. So we have to improve it, and the other way we have to improve it, actually per your zoning bylaw, so not something that you can waive. We have to have a minimum of 4% slope down off the road, which is quite a bit flatter than what's there now. So I think we have like a 12% coming off the road. We have to improve that to 4% for 40 feet. And then we can transition to a 12%, which is what we've done. Okay. So that really drives the geometry of that first few hundred feet horizontally. So to respond to your request, we laid out a driveway that was shifted over about 13 feet. And shows it running down to where it gets to a point down here past the first turnout where it's 25 feet. And that's what we laid out there for you. It's about a 12 or a 13 foot shift to the south. And you know, You know, it's not very much different than what's there now, to be quite honest with you. We just wanted the opportunity to try to keep this as close to the existing driveway as possible, and that's the real reason for our requested waiver. But we want, I think, rightly so, it was important that we showed you that we could do it. We're not asking you for a waiver, to grant a waiver for something that we cannot otherwise do in a compliant manner. So, you know, we're not asking you, the waiver request doesn't, the project doesn't hinge on the waiver request. So
Right.
I think it was important that we documented that.
I mean, two things that I think, you know, complying makes, you know, moves the driveway away from that huge oak tree that's right on the road.
Yep.
And then it also is helpful in grading, because basically you're building up kind of a land bridge or a berm down, so it just gives you more room on the property line to kind of build that berm. But yeah. James, did you want to see that?
It does. We are proposing a retaining wall here. It's about 3 feet high, I think, at the worst spot. So we're not talking about a real large wall. We're talking, you know, something that's waist to chest high, something like that at the worst spot.
So when do you have to put in a guardrail?
We would not on that one because it doesn't warrant it. So down here we're at more like 8 feet. So we look at a guardrail there. So a guardrail is definitely anything over 4 feet on a wall, and there's other warrants that goes in there. But this would not warrant a guardrail based on the height. This one does.
Bringing the driveway another 13 feet south and staying compliant without the waiver, what's the difference? Just more intrusion on the land? Are you taking down trees?
Yeah, I mean, it's really an impact. We're not proposing to take this house down.
It's impacting Mr. Hendrick's house?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So it's really, you know, it's trying to keep this as far up as we can so that, you know, we minimize the impact on this existing house.
If it stayed there at the 12 feet, is your thought to take that tree down?
I think the tree has to,
Either way?
We think the tree has to come down because of the sightlines.
Okay.
One of the things you've asked us to do is one of the things that Fred asked us to do was to provide a more detailed site distance exhibit here, which we've done to document that the actual travel speeds, we have site distance in both directions in excess of what would be required at the actual travel speed, which is more like 35, 39 miles an hour, according to Fred.
I can attest to that.
I've been there too. I know they come whipping over the hill. So there's a high point right about this telephone pole. So right about here where this graphic is about the limit of where you start to the site distance. That's about 300 feet. We need, if you assume that the travel speed is 39 miles an hour on the road, you need 192 feet, so we're still in excess of that. And the same thing going this way. But going this way, you can actually see, so this tree, when you look at it, it stands alone. I mean, and the road goes right out around it. And you can actually see behind it. But it's an obstruction in what is supposed to be a clear sight triangle. So, it's a tree that we would be, I think, and this requires a scenic road hearing. Once we get the alignment down here on what we're looking to do with the driveway, we'll be filing that and probably coming in here, probably the last meeting of what this process would be, is what our hope would be. And so I know that input from the town, from the tree warden would be required for that process.
So, Erica, you have a letter from our engineer, and he has all his points, and you're addressing that.
So let me just summarize that. So we've gone through the last several weeks, and this set before you, which I'm not ready to hand into you because I want to, if we're talking about road alignment things, I want to make sure we kind of have that ironed out. But this would be the plan set basically that I would send to Fred on sort of an informal basis to document that we've addressed his comments. So we've gone through his list, everything that he's done, and we've made the revisions that we've discussed. We've also done some modifications and additions to the drainage calculations per Fred and your memo. So all of that information we'll be packaging up, and it'll be waiting for Fred on his desk when he gets back from vacation.
So there are no items in here that you think are wrong,
Well,
or you're ignoring?
There are. There's one, at least. I think I'm going to pull that out. And we talked about this last time, and I guess Fred isn't here, so it's going to be a little bit of a difficult discussion.
Well, you can just remind us.
But the one thing that I really am pushing back on, I guess, is his comment on page number 2, sheet 4, his first comment under sheet 4, which relates to the vertical curve. Length, and I could talk about this for hours because I'm an engineer. This may bore you guys, but
it would.
He's talking about this vertical curve right here and saying that he believes that should be 300 feet. I'm proposing a 200-foot vertical curve. Vertical curves in vertical road alignment have to do with sight distance and stopping distance. And when you're designing a road, there's certain parameters that you have to meet for that. There's certain minimum stopping distances, sight distances that you have to, and they're different for a sag. This is a sag condition versus a crest condition. Fred used the, from what he explained to me, was he used the road standard sight distance to come up with a 300-foot vertical curve. My position is this is a driveway, and you do not have, there are no regulations, design regulations for that tell me what sight distance I need on a driveway. So I believe, in my opinion, that 200 feet in this case is adequate. I did not size this based on sight distance because there is not a sight distance problem when you're driving down here. Because it's in a sag. I sized this to minimize this cover. I needed a certain amount of cover to get my drainage to work. But I also didn't want to artificially raise it so that I'd have to put, larger walls in and have more impact to the wetlands and that kind of thing. So it's kind of that's sort of the main design parameter that went into that.
Show us where that is on the plan.
Yeah, where? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is right in the wetland, crossing, which is right here. So the wetlands come in right through here.
And how wide's the road there? Well,
It's 12 feet.
12 feet road.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So that's your typical 12 feet with pullouts.
Yes.
Where do you have the pullouts?
So I have a pull-out about roughly 300 feet or less.
Okay.
So the first one's here, and that's 300 feet off the road. You require 18 by 20, so it has to get widen.
At the top of the downslope or somewhere thereabouts?
Yeah, actually, so we're in a fill condition here, and then we go in. A fill condition here. Right when we get down to here, we kind of break and meet existing grade. So it actually was a pretty decent spot to put that. It's right as the grade kind of transitions. Is that first one? The next one is across the wetland here.
We have pullouts on the top of both sides of the slope. Or sag, rather.
Yes. Yep. So it's
So
roughly
you come in the driveway, you see someone coming down the other side, you say, okay, I'll pull over here where they can do the same.
That's very true. Yeah. So there's one basically right here, right in this stretch, and then there's one right in here, right in that stretch. So yeah, it's right on the side of this. You're right.
And that was pretty much a straight shot.
Oh, yeah.
It's straight. There's a curve here, but it's not. It's really
Nothing that significant. That's Bolton Street.
That's Bolton Street. Yeah. Yeah. And then as you work your way back, there's another one here about at 900 feet, and then as you go back, there's something.
It's 4 A&Rs plus Mr. Henry's house at the end of the day?
Correct. 5 total lots.
5 total lots,
Yes.
including the existing house. 4 new houses.
4 new houses in the back, right.
But the existing house probably won't be heading back that way. Not too often.
No doubt, no, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you're west of there.
Yeah, it's really, exactly, it's a driveway, really. Once you get past the existing house, it's just a full lot. And then there's another turnout here, and then you have the larger turnout area that you require for your, emergency vehicle. Turning.
Great. So we have that letter from the Conservation Administrator, and I think that was, you kind of glanced over that last time, so you guys are going before them for the first time next week.
Next week, yeah, and, they're gonna wanna do a site visit. I don't know, have any of you folks been daring enough to get some snowshoes out there?
I've walked it
No,
before.
driven by.
Yeah. Well, our surveyors were out there, so there may be some pathways there, so. So their process starts next week. And, really, I thought after we left, our real intention of this is to run these things as concurrently as we can, all the public hearing processes. Concom, a big thing, in addition to your board reviewing the drainage, the Conservation Commission also has to review the drainage pursuant to the Wetlands Protection Act. So, and they typically rely on Fred's review comments for that too. So, to have Fred have already reviewed this and then go into Conservation Commission, I think will be a benefit in that process too. But I want to try and when I submit to you a new formal plan, I want it to be something that Fred's already seen and already believes that it complies, and also something that the Conservation Commission has reviewed too. And then, so when we're revising a plan, I really don't want to revise plans, 3 and 4 different times. It's just a waste of time. So, this is kind of a progress set that we're going to get to Fred. We're going to get some comments, hopefully from Conservation Commission next week, and start building it in. So that the hope is Fred will have a set of plans when he gets back from vacation that has already been, that address his comments, that address the comments so we know the date, and also have been address anything that we get from Conservation Commission next week. So that's our thought.
On the site lines, I'm looking at the common driveway bylaw.
Yep.
It says a proposed common driveway can only be located where the minimum site distance in both directions along an improved or accepted right-of-way from which it assesses at least 60 feet for every 10 miles per hour of the legal speed limit. So,
right. So that
what is the speed limit there?
25, I think. So that gives us a much lower
25, so 2.5, so 120, 150.
150, which is what we showed on the plan that we presented last week.
Yep.
And Fred's comment was, yeah, that's the regs, and you meet the regs, but they go a lot faster. So he wanted us to show and document that we actually have the site distance. So we actually have about 300 feet in both directions, which would not only meet your regulation, but would also meet sort of a more common engineering way of looking at it, which would be actually looking at actual speeds that are traveled out there and calculated based on that, which is a conservative way to do it.
What is not what should be.
Right. Yeah.
Any more comments from the board before I open it up to the...
Jonathan, I did receive comments just tonight from the fire department. They're really minor though.
Oh, good. Actually, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, and I can give you this email.
Okay.
He basically says that the street address signs, that the lettering this just needs to be a minimum 3 inches.
Okay.
And then he would like it if you could add a note onto the plan that says no houses beyond 1,800 feet from the street, versus him having to look at the plan and scale it. So
Okay. Yep.
really minor.
Okay. Yep.
What is that one? No houses?
So he wants 3. He wants 3
The
inch
common
wide.
driveway can't be more than 1,800 feet long, so he just doesn't want to have to
He
go
wants the
on. He just
measurements
wants
on
to,
the plan.
yeah, basically.
How would a fire truck turn around in that common driveway?
So the regulations require a 30 by 40 foot pad back there. So this is the area where the fire apparatus would turn
So
around.
there's room for a turnaround?
Yeah. Yep.
That was it from the fire chief?
That was it, yeah.
Okay, great.
And then the only other issue I think maybe we should talk about is the other waiver you're requesting. for the slope of the driveway, or the, not having it at,
Cross slope.
Oh, the
Yeah.
cross slope
Yeah.
rather than a crown.
crown,
That
right?
says that's fine.
So again, that's gonna be a conservation commission issue because, you know, from what I imagine, I mean, so you have a wetland and the water is gonna slope, you know, go down the driveway into the wetland, and that's just kind of their issue.
So you don't really have a preference then, one way or the other?
I think I'd let them take the lead on how
Okay.
you're gonna solve the water runoff and, the retention.
Okay.
I mean, we'll review that, but I think, that's really their expertise.
Speaking for myself, if you come up with a plan that they're cool with in terms of the water runoff, I don't see a problem with the waiver
Okay.
from a board perspective.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This is a pretty, I mean, I think the last one we did was on the backside of Houghton Farm Lane. We did the common driveway there for the 4 lots, and we did the same thing there.
So Houghton Farms, that's a common driveway, that's not a...
Houghton Farm is a road,
Oh, okay.
but on there's 4 lots on the back that we, during the permitting process, decided to access with one common driveway off the back of the cul-de-sac. And
I
so we,
haven't seen that.
yeah, so there's a common driveway there. And we pitched it, super elevated it instead of crowning.
And maybe if Bob's gonna be putting up any more houses or
He keeps
shaving
threatening.
off that corner there.
He keeps threatening. You know, he wants to get that corner done, and he's kicking himself for not doing it when the town did the culvert. The town closed the road to do the culvert. He didn't know it until it was too late to mobilize.
I'll bring my shovel down, I'll help him. I wanna see that thing go.
Yeah.
What? The big rock?
The S-curve, past the walk that sticks out so that you aren't, frankly, I think a little crazy to try and walk or run or push a baby carriage or anything past there other than driving a heavily armored vehicle.
That's a lot of roads in Bolton.
Yeah, well, it's close to me, so.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah. It's on his radar screen. I'm not sure.
That's good. I just want to make sure that he doesn't forget about that.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to me.
He's got some interest in, I think, in that block 3 that's up, so.
Good.
I mean, the houses look nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see it all filled out.
Absolutely.
Anybody living there?
I don't see any signs of life other than the lights are on in the house all the time.
I think one's sold and one's rented.
Yeah.
I think that's.
So there actually are people in there?
There's people down there.
Yeah. Never seen them coming in or out.
So, did we have any comments from the public? Martha?
Martha Remington, I'm representing the Bolton Historical Commission with regard to stone walls. And I guess for 150-year-old plus trees. The minimum frontage for backland lots is 50 feet. Why are all the new constructions based on the minimum? Why couldn't that entrance be shifted and the driveway moved south so that it wouldn't be jeopardizing the stone wall?
Greg, can you
And what
pull up
is
the plan?
this retaining wall going to be made of? What's it going to look like?
I'll go through this.
Just so I can orientate everybody, there's a stone wall all along the road, which would be, which is going to be, except for where it breaks for the existing driveway, which is going to be in the purview of a review by your board during the scenic road hearing process. So any place we come in on this road is going to require the removal of a portion of the stone wall. Here, it requires the least amount because we're taking advantage of an access.
I'm talking about the stone wall between the Girl Scout camp and the Henry property.
Right, so there's also a stone wall that goes down here, and that's true. And we're proposing, under this scenario, a concrete block type retaining wall, so not a poured concrete wall one of these modular type block walls that would go right there, and the grade would be, your stone wall is this high, your block wall would be this high, roughly.
So, what you're saying is you're not going to be burying the existing wall with fill. You're gonna
No,
there's
not
going to
this.
be a space between the historic wall and this new wall.
Yep. And, a portion of this would have to be reconstructed. What's common is the requirement to, sort of take those stones and rework the roundings a little bit, which is, we sort of anticipate that as part of the scenic road process, but we haven't gotten there yet with you folks, but we anticipate that.
So that rock wall is right on the line of properties?
Yes, sir, yep. That wall is the property line all the way back. So we can't,
It is protected by the state,
well, it's a boundary. It's a boundary marker, so.
so it cannot be disassembled.
So that's good. So it's not going to get buried by the driveway. It's
Right.
going to be
Yep.
left intact.
Right. Yep.
The retaining wall isn't really going to be in character of that particular part of Long Hill Road, which is very rural and very scenic, from the Wilson property across the wooded Girl Scout property. And I really take issue that tree is going to be cut. The wider the sight line is, the faster people are going to want to pull out. And you can see before that tree and then get up. If the tree is close to the road, they should be able to have it clear enough so that they can see left and right. You look before you get to the edge of the road.
It's true.
Yeah, but then you stand your car right at the intersection. I think you got a good sight line with the tree there as you approach, but I think once you stop, you've got an impediment to your sight
Would
line.
moving the driveway south to 13 feet improve or
Not
I don't know
really.
if it would change.
Not really, it doesn't really change much.
I mean, we've already lost hundreds of hickory trees on Long Hill Road. I mean, literally hundreds over the last 50 years. They all died because of a blight. And I just think that it's time the town realized that you can't sacrifice every big old oak. Nobody seems to care about them. And we need to set a precedent where we're preserving these things. And it can be done, it just takes a little more creative common driveways and things.
So is the owner of the house here? Is that you, sir?
Yeah,
So would you mind if we pulled into your driveway and checked out the sight lines in the coming?
no, but I suggest you come down and turn around and drive out.
Okay.
When I come out of the driveway and I look down the road, and believe me, I do, the tree does not impact me. I see before the tree.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear behind it, yeah.
It's very clear behind it. And so my Caravan, or my Neon, which is pretty low, I'm looking out, when I come out every day, I'm looking to the left, I'm looking down the road before I see the trees. I mean, that's definitely where my sight line is.
So it would be an impediment if you were, say, sitting on the edge of your hood. But since the driver's seat is back from that, that's why it's fine? Is that the idea?
It does not impact me at all, that tree, when I drive out, and I'm as close to that road as I can put my bumper without getting it wiped off if there was a car there.
So if you don't mind,
No, no.
we'll drive in and take a look before our next meeting. I appreciate
The
that.
white car is in the driveway.
Okay.
So Martha, your other issue was about, why is this driveway so close to the edge there, and, why not farther down? And I think that issue is really dictated by the wetlands, and Conservation Commission is going to have a lot to say. I think this passage is the driest way into those backland lots. but maybe you can address that.
Yeah, what you mean, by
question.
the time we get down here?
Well, Martha was asking, why is the driveway,
Oh, so close.
North of the house,
I'm
right,
really-
south of the house.
when we
It's the
have,
retaining wall next to the stone wall.
So you,
That,
up the front of the front of the site is the main part?
yeah. I mean, the part that's visible to the traffic that's speeding over Long Hill Road.
but like what are, in terms of the frontage and other accesses to these 4 lots, is there any other way?
I mean, there are. This is just the one that has the least wetland fill. So the wetland here is like this wide here.
Yeah.
This is wet. This is wet. The wet line does this. So there's a few spots down in here, but there's a lot more. There's wetlands over here. There's other buffer zone impacts, and then you got topography issues on the other side. So this is the least impact to the resource areas. There's no question about
Could
that.
I ask what the scale is? Is it an inch for 100 feet there?
Inch equals 30 feet.
An inch equals 30 feet.
Yeah.
So the retaining wall is going to be how far from Long Hill Road? Because I'm really not concerned about down where the wetlands, I'm
This one here?
concerned up near
Yeah.
the road.
This one is about 175 feet long.
The retaining wall?
Yes.
Whoa. How far from the road though? It starts
So how
right
far
at
east does
Long
it
Hill
go?
Road?
Yeah.
It starts about 15 feet in from Long Hill Road.
And will there be any landscape buffer for this modern cast block interlocked retaining wall? I mean, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb unless it looks, unless it's buffered somehow. I mean, it's going to be how far from the stone wall? 4 feet?
A couple feet, yeah. Not
Oh,
far.
jeez.
So how do you usually handle areas like that after it's disturbed? Do you like grade it and plant like a conservation mix, or what do you?
Yeah, it would be seeded.
It's
It
totally
was just-
straight too, and I realize with fire trucks and things, a lot of driveways now, they're trying to curve them and make them look more natural so that you can't see 250 feet down the driveway from Long Hill Road, which probably with Mr. Henry's place there would mean more land. I mean, you're just using 50 feet and then it narrows down to how much? 25 after the opening of the driveway? Has to be 50 feet at
Oh, you mean the lot?
road edge.
The
Yeah.
lot.
50
Well, actually,
feet, you know.
this is actually, the driveway configuration is irrespective of the lot configuration.
Right,
Well-
but it has to have 50-foot frontage at the road, which can go down to 25. Isn't that the bylaw, which is way too narrow?
Are you talking about the lot, dimensional lot
Yeah,
characteristics?
it's a backland lot, it's a
It
backland
is,
road, so.
but in this case, it actually, the frontage is like this, and then the lot, let me show you.
So it's much more than 50 feet?
Yeah.
Oh,
In this
okay, I thought
case-
you said it was 50 and then it went down to 25,
The
so.
width of the
Well,
road
I-
at the mouth. is-
Yeah, so what my quote there was a different thing altogether. That's just to say that the design standards for common driveways, irrespective of the lot dimensional, they require 50 feet of intercept width along the existing pavement, those regulations, irrespective of what the lot lines look like. So this is 50 feet where it intercepts the existing pavement, and then, there's radii here, and then it comes down to 12 feet for the rest of the way.
If you move the driveway south 13 feet like you want, does the retaining wall move south also? Or does the retaining wall stay where it is?
Actually, we wouldn't need one.
So if you move it south 13 feet, you wouldn't need a retaining wall.
Right.
'Cause you
And it
have-
would have a little curve to the driveway, so you wouldn't see way back this effectively small road, which is a common driveway is.
I think moving it south actually straighten, because right now you have a little angle and then you go, moving it. You move it down right there. Show that to Martha. This is
Yeah, it just sort of, it's just straight.
what they propose, and this is moving it south.
Talking about moving it above from here to the wall.
But you're talking about moving the opening of it.
But he's requesting moving that south
Oh, I'm not requesting.
Oh, no, you're not requesting, that's what
I'm
it is.
just, you asked me to
Requesting it to
document.
keep the same, yeah.
You asked me to document what it would look like if it was in compliance, and that's what it
So the
Yeah.
turn into the 12-foot driveway has to be 50 feet wide?
The pavement, yes, for the common driveway.
And so you're going to be tearing down 50 feet of the existing wall along Long Hill Road?
Not quite, because some of it's already gone for the, where the,
Most of it's
where the
right.
road, where the driveway is now.
So I might have confused you. What's shown there is what the common driveway bylaw requires. He wants to keep it where it is. But if you do move it south like we require, then you wouldn't have to have the retaining wall.
Right.
Yeah. Great.
And what about the tree? And by the way, is Annie Moore intersection shown there?
Yeah, it's right here.
So.
Oh, I see. So this is south of Annie Moore Road intersection?
Yes, not far,
Okay,
a
I'm
little
thinking
bit.
of it as being north of Annie Moore intersection. How far from Annie Moore intersection is it?
Oh, I don't know.
20?
That's
No, it's more than
50,
that.
60,
It's more than that.
you know, 60, 70 feet, something like that.
So, yeah, so we're all gonna go take a look at the visibility, at the tree.
Right, because we had the issue with Warner Road and Harvard Road. Remember that Harold and the chief of police looked at?
Mhm.
About the driveway they wanted to put up Warner Road. I mean, it's kind of crazy there.
And part of what makes it crazy is a 40-inch tree in your right-of-way.
Well,
Speaking
is
as an
that-
engineer that does public safety in town, I'd just be remiss if I didn't say that, you know, regardless of what you do with the driveway, you shouldn't pave around a 48-inch oak tree.
And that's what it is. It's a straight tree that takes a left to go around a gigantic tree that I've almost hit about 30 times.
And people have, it's
Sober.
dinged up pretty good on the roadside.
May I ask Mr. Henry a question?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is this the tree that has the hole in it that's healing? Oh,
It's not, I don't agree on the healing, but yes, there's a hole in it.
right.
It gets
It's
bigger
a
every
long,
year.
it's a
I have a
long.
piece of plastic stuck in it, so
Okay.
somebody won't drive into
That's
it.
you put.
I was
okay,
thinking
good.
that it was another tree that
That's
was
right.
substantially, down the
Yeah.
road from Annie Moore. So this is
That's
the
that
one
one.
that's just before your driveway.
It is.
It's
There's
a-
left
it's
in
a
it.
huge
Healthy tree? Because
I don't think I can answer that one.
Oh, okay.
The
Well, no,
phone
I'm
company
just
has a
asking.
problem with that tree too.
Yeah, I think the one you're
which is
talking about
all
is
the time,
this
because
one,
the
yeah.
cables have to.
Okay,
There's
so,
one on there, and that doesn't obstruct, that does not obstruct the sight lines.
okay, this is the one that has quite a wound or,
It does.
thing in
Yeah.
it.
It does.
Martha, you're thinking of closer down by the farm, I think. I think I know what
Yeah,
you're talking
right,
about.
and I apologize for not going out there and looking at this, but I would like to come when you folks do look at it.
There's a tree here, so this is the drive, this is the tree in question.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's kind of hard to see it here, but this is the tree we're talking about right here.
And that's Annie Moore that's coming down?
Yeah, this is
Yes.
any more, and then there's another tree right here,
Okay.
and then I actually think there's another tree right here.
Yep.
A pretty good-sized tree there that we didn't sort of look at. But
Okay.
neither one of these trees are problematic with sightline, because the road kind of comes out away from it.
Thank you for the clarification. I just wish that there was a way that we didn't have to have this retaining wall, especially based upon how it's going to be constructed.
Well, there is an option, and I guess we'll wait and see what Conservation Commission.
Conservation isn't going to care about that, because it's not in their buffer.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
trouble, because
Yeah.
everyone has their own
It's
interest.
just like what they care about, and then what they don't, we'll find out about. But,
But
in terms of drainage and,
Yeah.
are they okay with this entrance and all that stuff?
Yeah, but I really want to know what you folks think, because I don't think they're going to care on the entrance.
I think if you have an opportunity to stay at the existing road line and keep away from that existing house, you ought to take it. And I think if you come far south to kind of the crest of the hill across the street from the old house and run the driveway in through there, you're tangling with a ton more wetlands, you're digging up the dirt. I just think it's a messier way to do it. I have no problems whatsoever with the waiver for the with coming further north, for the entrance coming further north than it should be. That's my opinion.
And that includes the retaining wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a way to make the retaining wall more Bolton?
We can do some plantings with some mountain laurel, rhododendrons.
I think that's how you do it. You hide it up a little bit.
Yeah, you might be able to use boulders too. You're gonna have boulders out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could build it out of fieldstone and put that in the plans, that would be
And then
a
natural-
great compromise.
natural
And
things
then I
Yeah.
feel good about granting the waiver. So if you could make that a fieldstone wall using the material from your work.
A couple things. You got a stone wall running a long hill. By doing what you want to do, you're effectively keeping that in place. I think that's cool. You've got a perpendicular stone wall dividing Henry property from the Girl Scout camp.
Yeah.
That generally stays intact. I think
Yeah.
you're solving a lot of things.
Yep.
Okay, we'll come up with something for the next meeting.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So we'll continue this till,
Next meeting is scheduled for April 8th. If that doesn't work.
motion.
Make a motion to continue the hearing to April the 8th at 7:30?
Yeah.
7:30 in this room.
Second?
And you'll go out on site, would you like me to attend, or you just wanna go on your own?
I think we'll just do it individually.
Yeah.
Too hard to coordinate.
Just as a courtesy, would you tell my wife when you're coming
Yes,
over
yes,
there
yes.
or something, knock on
Yes.
the door?
Okay.
Just in case she drives in and there's two cars in the driveway,
So that's good.
she calls somebody that has a little blue light on the car or something. Just let them know you're coming, that's all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Everyone wear all
Thank you.
black.
Ski mask.
That's right.
I
get the little light thing saying I'm on the planning board.
Yeah.
Just knock on the door or something, that's all, that's fine.
Between the three, the five of us, we have what, about
Yeah.
27 kids? It is really impossible to coordinate.
It's the new ones.
Lots.
I don't know, Walter, is it staked?
Sounds like you're in my, wheelhouse. No, I got four.
It's like Pringles, stuff to start.
She was sleeping really good until a few weeks ago.
I didn't know it was gonna be this much fun.
We thought with that, unfortunately, this whole
5 and 2.5. You got newborns, right?
6 months.
That's still a little close enough.
Makes it better for you with the retaining wall. Well, like I said, for like 5 months, she was really good.
I mean, these
Oh, now
Last few weeks, it's
One
teething.
hour at a time.
I don't know, it's teething, it's just one
modern.
Just knows enough that, wants to hang out with mom and dad.
Chinese water tour.
Okay.
I'm gonna fall back to sleep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not impossible for me.
So our next item, we have an A&R. We have David Ross Associates here.
Did you want this email from fire department, or you're good with it? Oh, yeah, I'll forward it over.
So this is Hubbard Lane, and the applicant is seeking to combine lots 2 and 3 as shown on plan BK into one undivided lot containing 2.14 acres and 54 feet, 54.24 feet of frontage. Hi, so you're Susan Marvin? Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Jonathan, please sit down.
Okay, I'll sign on it to sign it.
Oh, okay. Oh, sign in, that'd be great.
Oh, okay.
All right, hi, I'm Neil Gorman from David Ross Associates.
Hello.
Here's the plan, I think you have a Mylar and some other prints, just brought a print for here. This is the Butternut Farm subdivision off of Sugar Road. The Butternut Lane comes in, and then Hubbard Lane, just a little cul-de-sac ending here. There was Lot 2 and Lot 3 previously approved, both with the Board of Health, and a notice and order of conditions were issued years ago when the subdivision was approved. The properties have been vacant ever since, never developed. Susan Wildman has an interested buyer, and their goal is to combine the two lots. We have redesigned the lot for one new house with the sewage disposal system and a new well. So the goal is, we talked to the town planner and asked what type of plan would be sufficient to do this. She recommended that we submit an A&R plan, so we have done so. So it's basically just creating one lot out of the two. Given that this was a previously approved subdivision with the special, I think it was the
When was that?
it was under a special permit.
Yeah.
1999, there we go.
So these were smaller lots than,
Yeah, they were under the, I'm trying to think what they called it.
Prosper?
Yeah.
Oh, it was, okay, great.
Yeah. So yeah, one was a 1 acre lot, the other was 1.14 acres, so combining the two.
So they could still technically have two houses based on the phosphor or no?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
Right
they were previously approved.
Right now.
Get rid of that.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And you want to do that just for privacy? Or,
Well, I'd like to sell the lot, and it just looked like, I don't want two houses there.
yeah.
I just want one. It works for the lot, it works for the land better, so.
The original design was for the two lots to share a driveway as well. So there'd only be one driveway, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be one driveway anyways.
Yeah. Yep.
And, the goal, it's gonna be a real nice spot in the end there.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by, there's open space here and open space up in the back, and there's two houses here that share a shared driveway, so it's a real private little corner of the subdivision.
Nice.
That's good.
Not too often you're going this way.
I know, I like it.
It's like, what's the trick here? What's in here? What's going on?
Where's the curveball?
So you live,
So we have the farm that's, where am I here?
Here's the locus, you're over in this area. right?
Yeah.
okay, great.
Oh.
Yeah. Hi.
You got a lot of turkeys over there.
We do,
Although they walked the
30.
street last night, I saw them all. I had to wait and beep at them repeatedly to get out of the way.
It's good to know every neighborhood has their flock.
I
About
used
60.
to, yes.
My 2-year-old kept telling me to run them over. He was hungry.
Oh, that's in trouble with the
I think
snowbanks,
you're-
I felt so bad.
I think your car would
pretty
suffer.
short-footed.
They're so tough.
Yes, probably.
So let's see how this lays out. This is the sewage disposal system plan. So here's the two lots, and
It's a nice little neighborhood down there.
this is the dividing line down there, so just a driveway coming in, one house, one septic system. There was another house and septic system designed up above it with a shared driveway coming all the way around, and it's just gonna be a much
We
nicer.
minimize the impact on the wetlands too by doing
Because there's
this.
a riverfront area on this side of the property, so the original driveway was coming up through that riverfront area, and with the redesign, it comes up and out of there quickly. And it had already been approved by the Board of Health as issued a permit already.
Great, well, I have no questions. So we have a motion to.
Make a motion to approve the approval not required lot, I should like to say, as proposed by the applicant, which seeks to combine lots 2 and 3, shown on plan book 750-121, to one undivided lot 2A. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Great, so we sign it now.
Yep, I'll just go and grab some pens.
But she's great, yeah. She's awesome, sitting up on her own and stuff. Yeah. Tons of smiles.
Here, the
Yeah,
copies
you and
here.
baby food now. Yeah.
Gift
What's your name?
Evelyn.
Nice.
It's classic. I like the, yeah, classic. Yeah.
It's upside down, yeah.
It's cool, man. You were fancy names.
If you do that.
Oh, really? Yeah, we're going with
Man, Adventures. so it's not too far away. Cascade Corners,
That means,
so if you go up
upstate.
there and then just keep going, greenhouse on the left, just past the
We
Laurel.
almost went with
So,
Nice to know you.
it's getting brighter out and warmer out,
we
you'll
kind of want
probably see me out in the neighborhood more.
Right. There's lots of others that I love it. Yes.
I like that one. Now, would she, if she took on a nickname at some point, would it be Edie or something?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever it is, it's cool.
So we're like 2 months in now.
Somewhat.
Yeah, maybe.
3 weeks out.
3 weeks? Cool.
Uh,
3 weeks.
It was originally April 14th. I think they moved it up a little bit. But super healthy pregnancy, so we're excited. Yeah.
Traveling a lot.
A lot of less travel than when we got Jack, though, which is great.
The signing dance, like it out of the way.
Oh, yeah, I love too. Thanks. Glad you
This
guys
is
are
only one
understanding
sheet.
that.
Yeah, no, it's
Duplicates.
great. You are.
I am.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah, David, another couple of weeks of weather like this, your road will be wide enough for 2 cars to not go straight head on.
Sugar Road's fun.
I like the puddles, avoid the puddle dance.
Yes.
Because some of those do get pretty deep.
Keep the paper copies up.
One more autograph.
One more.
Two lefties and numbers, huh?
And 3 Johns.
We're very good.
We got all sorts of money. Do you really? You're nice in this house. My 1978 plant designed on ice dam collecting house.
I'm sure my old 1966 is doing just fine.
No, my 1996, the only time I get water in the basement is when my pipes sweat in summer.
Yeah, I have that issue too.
Yeah,
You have
that's-
no issues? Simple, it's just straightforward.
I noticed high bicycles about that long on there.
Okay.
Even that surprised me.
Do you have dormers?
Insulation and ventilation, guys.
You have dormers?
I got all sorts of.
Yeah.
No icicles on your
All
house?
those new roofs weren't designed for
No,
that.
I kept thinking over, but it's just the Christmas lights that snowed in, and I couldn't take down.
Air stockings full of. I did it anyway. I was on that roof.
Thank you.
Like, they probably don't even, like, you pay for that.
Whenever you get a chance to tell me.
Oh, the HOA?
Tell me if this isn't a risk.
Yeah, I think of that as like peace of mind, but I also know that that's, no one's gonna care about that roof.
No insulation.
So I just did it.
Is it connected or is it not connected?
Really?
There's 2 of them, too.
Yeah,
There's some heating coils up there.
like 2
I
townhouses,
think
that's
the
it.
north,
There was leaking.
the north.
So
Really?
that's,
I only just
You just get the
out and I
heat.
always
create
From the inside of the house,
ice
you never get the sun.
this one is,
Yeah.
probably because we're south facing, but, it was the back.
Do you need
that was-
flat there?
There's a little
Okay.
bit. It's, we had to shovel our roof twice, like, not me.
Okay.
Like, the whole thing shoveled off.
How much? A grand each time?
No,
Okay.
I found
The bargain basement?
good guys.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you
Oh, you
see
got
that
some go up?
Doug's demo video on Facebook with the avalanche snow shovel thing?
Yeah, awesome.
It was really cool,
That
actually.
is awesome.
That's
The other
the
thing
word.
I get excited about, yeah.
It's on YouTube.
What is this?
No, he put it up on Facebook, him and his friend or
It's been
whatever.
trending all over Facebook. There's a video of an engineer who built like this big metal scoop.
It's a slip and slide with a shovel.
Metal bucket and a slip and slide out the back. So it's like it is a snow rig, but he pushes it up and
And the
it
snow just
scoops.
flies off.
It's hollow, so it scoops nice and easily through the snow. But then the backside, once it picks up the snow, it delivers it onto like this plastic slip and slide. And as he pushes it up, it just starts slide knob.
Well, that's what you just need to install on your roof.
Yeah. You just hit a switch.
You know what though, I was thinking about that, if you dig too deep, you could damage your shingles.
Absolutely.
I know, well, that's.
You gotta be really
that's-
careful.
Absolutely. It's like you're going against the.
Yeah.
No, you gotta be super careful.
Okay, so we have another Gentle Manor LLC. There is the applicant.
The applicant is on vacation, so this is really just a discussion that I wanted to bring forward to.
So this is the Berlin Road, he's putting 2 houses there next to that kind
This is
of.
Venus?
This is the Venus property,
Yeah.
yes. So if you guys remember, this is the A&R that you approved last year for that property. So
Oh,
now,
this is the one in the back now?
yeah, so now he's looking to put a house here. He sort of just eyeballed
So
the
instead of
location.
coming in here,
Yeah, so instead of coming along the frontage here, he's looking to, there's a common driveway that services 4 houses over here. He would like to put the driveway for this house connected into this common driveway. So what's sort of unusual about it is the fact that when this common driveway was approved back in the 90s, it was approved for 4 lots. Now he's looking to add a lot to it. So with that said, I felt the planning board should just weigh in. I don't think it's an issue. I actually think it's a good design.
Okay.
But
I think he mentioned it.
But you think we should
Was the
look
part
at
of it that he was gonna pave it and bring it up to spec? Wouldn't it be cheaper and simpler just to run a single driveway back?
he's not bringing it up to spec. So this conversation actually began last year after he submitted this A&R. I had a conversation with Doug Story about this because I didn't know whether or not he needed to go for a modification to special permit or if it was just a driveway application. In talking with Doug, his suggestion was that if he's not making any design changes to the common driveway, it would just be a driveway application. If he was looking to make design changes, it would be a modification. So in talking with the developer, at most it would be just maintenance. It would be paving it and that's it. There wouldn't
Okay,
be
so-
any changes to the drainage or
So he's
the
putting
pitch.
just a single driveway here rather than
Yeah.
a single driveway here.
Exactly.
Now I see.
and
What's the frontage on, didn't we say that wasn't even?
84.89
So,
and 4.5 acres. It's a legit back lot.
Yeah.
but
Backland.
he's still gonna need to go for a special permit for a backland lot. He hasn't done that yet.
Oh, okay.
So he will be coming before the board.
This is the one that's right on the border, right?
Yeah.
And that old house is on the right there?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that old house still there?
It is.
he's still there.
I drove by that, that guy scared me. Just stood and
He
stared.
doesn't like it when you drive slowly and check it out.
Yeah. Is he sitting there? Pretty much.
This isn't, I don't know if this is germane or not to the conversation, but this common driveway that serves as the houses back there, he doesn't own that. He didn't develop that. If he's like getting
The
an
common
easement from
driveway.
them?
He already has actually
Okay.
So where are those
that
letters?
easement, a copy is in your packet. So they've already updated, they had a maintenance and easement agreement in place and they have now added him to that agreement. So they've pretty much worked out all the details. It's just a matter of, you know, how do we permit the driveway?
So he will pave it, or at most he will pave it?
At most, he will pave it. But my understanding, I'm not even sure if he's gonna do that now. He may not touch it at all.
If he was paving it but not changing anything else, I'd be super gung-ho. I mean, I think you're right. That's a better design. Existing driveway.
One less cut.
Yeah.
And don't cut anything there, keep it
Yeah.
natural. That's
Yeah.
smart. And he's put a house here, and this is the whole lot, you got plenty of land.
And if you look at the pictures, the developer and I have gone out to the site together
Yeah,
last
we see.
year, and the driveway's already pretty much there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, I mean, it's
So if you-
really.
Oh, because he used their, so this is the current common driveway?
I don't know which picture.
This is the current common driveway right here?
Exactly.
And there's already a path?
Yes, exactly.
I gotcha.
So just to go through everything, conservation has looked at it and
And they've already issued orders of conditions for developing that lot. 'Cause
for that lot,
yeah.
and they've seen the driveway.
I believe so. I mean, I know Carol, they spent a lot of time on
The
this
water's
last year,
further back,
so.
right?
But they were looking at that.
I kind of want to see it.
I
I've never
I
been
have a
there.
copy of the order of conditions right here. Let's see.
One place in Bolton you haven't been now?
Boy, that's scary.
But so all, so like in our package, there's this amendment to their easement and covenant for the common driveway, and I guess everybody, all four owners have signed
Oh, really?
saying
Well, obviously.
they're happy to share it with him. Legalese.
I have two things to point out in this declaration of common driveway easement and covenant. The first one is a question. Number 26, is that the right course, or should it be course like sandpaper?
What is that? That's no ties to the road.
I don't know if that's- which would be correct there. That might be correct. The other thing is, here,
You might be right on
how do they get it past the registry of deeds and goes through when it says Worcester? Okay, people from other parts of the country I can understand, but if you live in Worcester County, you should know how to spell Worcester.
Yeah.
So this whole legal thing, what is it saying, Erica?
I'm sorry, I missed that. The maintenance agreement?
This whole amendment?
It's amended because he's now associated, his property is associated with the common driveway. So it's the easement plus the maintenance agreement. It's
Okay,
added in
so
one.
he becomes, and so there's no issue with adding, you know, common driveways can have how many houses on
Up to
them?
5, so
Up to
that's not
5,
an issue.
So that's not an
Yeah.
issue.
Now,
Yeah.
in points 3 and point 6, it sounds like they're doing some upgrading, and then point 5 is talking about removing fencing. So it does sound like they're doing some
Remove
work
this
to it.
ugly fence.
Remove the fencing that runs along the paved driveway between Berlin Road and the Culvert Bridge.
Great.
Point 3 talks about funds related to the improvement of paving of approximately 150 feet of the above referenced driveway easement beginning at the point where the current driveway pavement ends, spans the corrugated culvert bridge, extending uphill to the point where paving recommences. So I guess the dirt section in there will get paved.
But you're saying they won't pave it, so you think?
No,
they'll
it's saying they
amend
will
this?
pave it.
No, I know, but you thought they wouldn't.
A professional assessment of the structural integrity of the culvert bridge and any improvements necessary to that bridge.
I mean, you might amend it.
So, I mean, my experience of that drive, I have driven back there.
Okay.
It's all gravel.
Okay.
So, you know, this is that bridge right there. The pond. This is the
Okay.
pond. The bridge. So what are they saying? They're going to pave.
About 150 feet from where the current driveway pavement ends, spanning the bridge, extending uphill to the point where paving recommences. Now, if it's all gravel, when they say pave it, is that logical by paving it with gravel? Is that such a thing?
No,
I
no.
didn't think so, but still, I don't know.
It's asphalt.
Yeah, no.
Well, I don't see a problem with approving it, but if you could just show it to Carol, you know, just related to the pond. I know they did a lot of cleaning out. There was a lot of,
Is that necessary though, if they already issued their order?
They already
conditions?
issued the order of conditions. I know that when they were going before conservation, they were talking about having that driveway connect the common driveway, because that's how I got involved with this whole discussion.
Okay.
So I really, I don't think she's gonna have any concerns, because they've already signed off and she knows that the driveway will be at that location, so.
okay.
And then, I don't know if you guys actually wanna see the house plan.
Well, we know what the house is gonna look like.
Not that, I'm
And
sorry,
we
not
know
the
the
building
color.
plan.
It's gonna be gray, blue,
This is the sewage plan, so
and
this
it's
is,
gonna have stone.
Haven't you already had this discussion with Stone Brook?
this is where the driveway's coming out. This is the property line. This is the property line here where the fence is.
I think he complained that they are all exactly the same.
I just feel like if I lived there, I'd be like, come to the blue house with the stone.
Which one?
And it'd be like, you got lost.
This is the one where the son said, oh, we wanted to do different ones, but
I was like, could you do a porch? It sounds like a red house with a porch.
I remember that now.
My kids
Who
want.
knows what sells? He was
Hopefully they want to
building
make
and
the driveway
selling
right today.
during the
That would be
recession.
distinctive.
Well, you're on the son's side. Unfortunately, he doesn't make the decisions.
And if the board has any further questions about it, you can always ask them during the background lot special permit process or hearing, so.
So do we need to vote on anything, or we just say?
No, I don't think so. It was
We don't
me,
think-
bringing it to your attention and, moving forward, is this sort of how you want me to handle it? Or do you want to see every time? I think this is a special circumstance. Do you want
Yeah,
to
that
see when a
seems
lot?
special.
Funky like this.
It was good.
Okay,
I think that was
okay.
I think that was
All right.
cool. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it makes total sense, because we'd have to have another scenic road, rock hearing and stuff if they wanted to cut open the other one.
Oh, that's been done already.
No, but it would be another one if they went, right?
They went for a new curb cut, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're right.
One less of those would be good.
Okay, so we're gonna start working on the subdivision rules and regulations. Is that right?
Yep.
And then there's,
You're gonna miss this part, James. Sorry? You're gonna miss this part.
Wait, so we have somebody to replace James now, right?
We do, yeah.
We should rephrase that.
no, to fill his shoe, we're gonna try really hard to fill his shoes, but he begged us to find somebody, and
He's done the same for 8 years, who finally
Yeah.
granted his request.
so hopefully he won't be like Doug and he'll let us have a party.
Well, Doug agreed to have a party, then he didn't live in
Right,
Then
that's
this shit.
true. Okay, so,
Pass up the rest.
All right, so I provided both a list of current revisions and then a copy of the actual regulations with some of the edits already made. I don't know how you want to do this, if you want to go through the list, or if you want to go page by page through the document.
not you.
Is there a gate code on this? The rules and regs? Others, not sure.
So we'll follow
Do you
your
wanna just-
lead.
Go through it page by page. I mean, there's not that many edits at this point, so I don't think it'll take that long. It might be easier that way.
Okay.
All right, so, page 1, we're just updating the date, obviously. I do still have to do some work on the table of contents. Unfortunately, we didn't have a Word file for this document. So I had to go through the process of converting it and then formatting it. And the formatting, you can see, it's a work in progress, so.
Well, it was all carved into wood. In the attic upstairs, that was the problem. So I put those through a scanner.
So I printed out one from online that, okay, actually, so 1996. All right, the one online is actually open. Didn't have that 1996 amendment.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, cut up.
They never actually put them in. It was
Oh.
just like an extra sheet of paper that says these are.
Oh, I see.
So I've incorporated those now.
Oh, okay.
They're in there now.
All right, so I can
Yeah.
throw mine away.
Yep. All right, so page 7, just crossed out the old date. Eventually that will have the new date.
What about 3? So, where are we?
Oh, I was going through the document page by page.
Okay. We're on page 7?
Yep, so now actually I'm moving forward to page 10. Under section 1409, this section talks about waivers, and I just added a sentence at the very bottom that states, in approving waivers, the board may require such conditions as will, in its judgment, secure substantially the objectives of the standards or requirements waived. So basically it's saying that the board can issue conditions based on those waivers. Page 11, I'm just requesting now when an A&R is submitted that they submit it electronically.
And 3 paper copies inside too.
Oh, yes, and 3 paper, and the reasoning for that is because I do need to give a copy to assessors, so it's better to have 3 than 2.
And the great thing about having PDFs is that Erica can send them to us before the meeting, and so we are more prepared.
Yeah, right now I'm having to request it in addition, and a lot of times it's, it takes time to get it. And then I also added under the plan contents a locus map, because I do find on the older A&Rs, it doesn't show the entire picture, so it can be confusing to figure out which lot is what, or which lot is which, and so I've added that. Under the preliminary plan, page 13, again, I've updated submission requirements for an electronic copy. Page 16, under the definitive plan submission, again, submitting an electronic copy. Page 18, under section 4250, soil survey plan. I think this is the section that would be most applicable to Harold Brown's request to do borings initially, before the site, goes to construction. He would like to see borings that shows what the existing soils are, where the roads are going to be on. And actually, this
So it's related
request,
to the roads.
yeah, and this request came about when they did Powder Hill Road, when they constructed Powder Hill Road. Apparently, there's tons of
Tires.
maybe a bunch of clay actually underneath, and so that road's, he's had constant problems with it since they constructed it. So that's sort of what
Yeah,
this,
that makes sense.
what this thing's
Yeah, clay is a terrible material and holds a lot of moisture and buckles.
Yeah. Section 4280 I've added, which is requiring a traffic study be submitted. So as part of that, I'm saying that they need to submit existing traffic conditions, future traffic conditions, and then, if necessary, mitigation measures. Page 21. Under the performance guarantee section, I've added bondage for damage to public ways. So this just provides security that, during construction, if they do damage the public way, we'll have money to fix it. It won't be the town's responsibility if the, developer were to walk away. And that wording, I haven't decided how exactly we're gonna word it. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. I can certainly look at other towns for examples. I don't, I think it shouldn't be so much that it's, a hardship, but I think it should be something substantial.
That's like a typical bond for, a lot of projects in towns and cities.
Well, one thing I'd suggest is that it just says, the town won't be liable and the board shall require a bond.
Okay.
From who? And just make that explicit. I mean, it's pretty logical to think of anyone other than the applicant, but don't give them any sort of wiggles.
Okay. Okay, require a bond from the applicant.
Yeah.
I think this gets into impacts, like the impacts of development. So if you
On
can,
behalf of.
so if you can look into that with the language.
What is it, Mr. Baker? I just want him to specify, who's gonna pull me up.
Can you just pony up in the document?
Because it just says the town should not be liable. Somebody's gotta give a bond.
So I'm going to take out the section that says not to exceed 10,000. I think it can be determined at the, for each project.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take that out. Actually, I did add another section. We'll get to it at the end of the document, but I did add another section just about damage in general to public ways.
Okay, so just to clarify, this document is for projects of what size?
For subdivision, so that's
Subdivisions.
basically 6 lots or more is
Okay.
considered a subdivision. Well, that's not true. Technically, I think if you're creating a public way, it would be a subdivision. But in Bolton, 5 lots or less, you can do a common driveway.
Yep.
We could do a whole bunch of shared driveways too, shared in common.
There's, yeah.
As long as you have enough road frontage, it won't be a subdivision.
So right now, in terms of damage to a public way, if there isn't a bond in place, our leverage on the applicant is not not allowing the road to be accepted by the town effectively?
There are a lot of different, yeah. I mean,
But to your point, if the developer goes belly up, you don't have that liquid security.
But
Right.
this isn't for the road in the subdivision.
For the public way.
So this is like Spectacle Hill.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
This
Yeah,
is-
yeah. There's not a bond there.
How is Spectacle Hill Road?
It's a little rough. Oh, it's in the newspaper. Did you
Yeah,
see
I
that?
saw
Yeah, it's
the piece of roller equipment or something parked on someone else's lot.
Yeah, even though the person had a, not a restraint,
No trespassing sign?
no, it's more specific than that.
Yeah.
It was like a, no, it wasn't nothing.
It was not a restraining order.
It wasn't a restraining order, it wasn't no trespassing sign, it was, I don't remember. No comment.
But it didn't want to.
Yeah, Bolton Common.
Oh, pretty good, it's good reading.
Yeah, that's some of my favorite reading,
I
actually.
love him. This week's was good.
I've been following the travels of the bear week to week. I haven't seen him around for a long time.
Oh, that's coming. He's still out
Sleeping,
there.
that's right. He's sleeping, they're going to himself.
He'll be after the bird feeders in their houses really soon.
Okay.
That's a business.
Page 23, I just highlighted compliance with other requirements as a reminder to myself that we'll probably need to update all the references throughout, in terms of whatever state regulations or law that we want to add. I think we need to probably add in, Mass DEP stormwater regulations and everything. A lot of things have changed since 1991 in terms of regulations, so. 24. Now 24, it's under street design, section 5220. Now this was on the list from the Old Town Planner.
Christmas party.
Um,
Party up. Let's do it.
Can I ask you a question? Just back a page on
Yeah,
the street connections. It says 16 lots or more requires 2. I mean, if it doesn't make sense, you could waive that, right? I mean, if you don't want it.
which section?
5140. So 2 non-contiguous connections.
I mean, these are the regulations, so the board could technically waive whatever
Yeah.
they feel is appropriate, so. Yeah, so under the list of changes, one of the comments said is comment number 6. Nope, sorry, no. Comment number 3, section 5221 G and C, what was the intent of both of these? So,
What page are we on?
page 24.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the board has any recollection of,
The street jobs with centerline offsets of less than 150 feet shall be avoided. Is that?
yeah, it's letter C and letter G.
I have no idea what
So
that
you
means.
could, can you ask Fred to just look at that?
Yeah, sure.
And
Because I'm not sure whether or not.
it does
it's
need to be clear.
Okay.
So what is the
No,
street jobs with?
I get G. You don't want a road or, common driveways to be butted up right next to each other, because then you'll have potentially lots of contention of people trying to pull out. If you got a road, and they're all 50 feet away. This is a common driveway. It's basically a very, very minor road. So they have to have some spacing in between. That's what G means. C.
Why doesn't my neighbor have that?
I'm okay with G as well, but I can certainly reach out to Fred on both of those.
So explain to me G again.
Okay, as an example, Golden Run Road,
Yeah,
Wooden Farm.
Yep.
Originally he wanted to put it in as an X, but that is actually worse for a variety of reasons. So, it would push basically as far over as he could while maintaining the sight lines and the fire pond and the rest. But those are quite close together. I don't remember it specifically, but looking at this, I'm sure he must have given him a waiver for that. So that's the kind of thing that they'd want to avoid. You pull out a Houghton Farm Road, you go 50 feet,
Yeah.
you stop.
Okay.
That sort of thing. Or actually, you try to pull out a Houghton Farm Road, and then some crazy man coming down Golden Run, banging a left on the sugar, and was flying around the corner. That's what they want to avoid.
So they want it, in here, they want it to be 200
You
feet.
should be used to it by now.
Huh? Every time it gets me like, oh, jeez.
Slow down.
Telling you. And you should put a great big speed bump right at the bottom
Okay,
there.
that makes
That'll
sense.
settle people down. Especially little Maximas and Altimas. They'll coast to the ground.
Once I turn left onto Golden Run, straight to the highway, it's almost the highway.
You and everybody else.
Page 26, under section 5225, I crossed out the grading length requires a variance from the Bolton zoning bylaw. This has to do with dead-end streets. And then under section C, under 5225, I've crossed out radius and put in diameter. (5226) has to do with setback. Let's see here. Oh, I think there was a discrepancy originally. It was contradicting itself, so I've just reworded it. And so now it'll read, the center line of the proposed subdivision road shall be at least the greater of the following: 100 feet from an existing residential building, 75 feet from any lot line not served by the proposed subdivision road, or 50 feet from any lot line part of the proposed subdivision. I think that's pretty clear now. Section 5233, I just highlighted because I think Fred and I should go through that and just make sure that it's current with Mass DEP stormwater regulations.
This is a big section.
Yeah. Under section 5310, criteria for open space, I've added section I that states the applicant shall provide an entry sign at all existing and future trailheads. The design and appearance of the entry sign shall be consistent with other trail entry signs located throughout town. Boundary markers obtained through the Conservation Commission shall be installed on all corners and every 100 feet of the open space property boundary. The applicant shall also provide parking for trailheads at the request of the board. So this is something that we did, I believe, talked with Conservation about. And then J is just about adding monuments as well for the open space. And that's also something that Conservation was seeking. Great. Section, under section 6000, page 31, under general, I've added some standard, construction related language that we've actually been putting in as conditions and special permits. This has to do with, just making sure that the contractor is responsible for communicating and providing information to the town during construction, like the schedule, the phasing, SWIP inspections. Something that I think is important is requiring, records for fill material, where it's coming from, erosion controls, staging areas, and then just knowing, who are the contractors on site, who are the field engineers, so that the town has that contact information.
That's a good one.
Let's see. Section J, this is the construction hours of operation.
Should we think about Saturday by request, by special arrangements, but leave Saturday open a little bit more fluid to our discretion?
I'll get down with that.
It's whatever the board would like to do. I would suggest playing it by ear, doing it project by project.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
If
So you're identifying hours for Monday or Friday. I think that makes sense. You're excluding Sunday and holiday. I'd almost, instead of providing hours of 8 to 4 on Saturday, just leave it to the discretion.
Sure. So,
So that effectively
Saturdays,
copies what we have for CME now, right?
Monday through Friday for this, Saturday is
By
at
discretion.
discretion of the board,
Sundays
and
no.
shall exclude holidays and federal holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's smart.
Sounds good.
Well, we can certainly open up Saturdays, but it'd be good to have the conversation.
Okay.
Maybe there's a location in town where Saturdays doesn't make sense. I don't know, but
It really just like depends. Not every project's gonna be like Century.
No, I know.
where it's like 10 years.
that's why it's cool.
But there could,
Could-
yeah, no, it is good. No, it is. But there could be another one.
I don't think that's terribly punitive either. I mean,
No.
it's a full day, 5 days a week, and then we'll talk about the weekend.
Gives us a
Actually, it's
little.
50 hours a week plus possible Saturday.
Yep.
And
We had to have a special hearing to change their hours, right? At least this way we wouldn't have to do that.
Right, right.
You
And
just
technically, we
started
don't.
from-
With that, you could just say, yeah, you can do it, or you don't do it, we don't have to have a special hearing.
Yeah, but if we give it to them, they can use it, then we'll just reopen the product and yank that piece out.
Section K just requires, that the material that's brought on site be clean and not filled with
So
garbage.
we don't need to be more specific about toxic or radiation or it's all like in there.
Well, I think
Implied.
that's a gray area because that gets tricky because a lot of times when, developers are building sites that, there might be another site under construction and they have excess material and they say, hey, do you want this material? We have it, free. They go and get it. They bring it to this site. They don't necessarily test it. So to say whether or not it, there's any,
What you really don't want is polluted, from a brownfield site.
No, and that's where I think just having the records of where the fill's
That's right.
coming from would be helpful,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I think we'd have a clear understanding of whether or not, that material is, I mean, it's tough to get material now that's virgin and doesn't have any contamination to it, and more than likely, if you touch most soil, it's gonna have some type of spike, I mean, but it's up to the board. I mean, if you would like to see more restrictions.
I like your last sentence. I think it helps with that concern. We could add a couple of words on the end. The
Yeah.
applicant shall maintain records where the fill is coming from, provide these records to the town to be reviewed to the satisfaction of the town, or something like that.
If you can look at other towns and see if they're a little bit more specific about, petroleum or, just different type of kind of typical brownfield pollutants.
I mean, we can add something in there about how the records indicate the material is free of contaminants or something generic.
If you can just
I
look.
can see that. My feeling is other towns probably don't even have that language.
Okay.
But I'll certainly look and see.
I know it's a huge concern because you can get, you can get lead, you can get all sorts of things.
Right. And certain things are naturally occurring. I mean, they could have spikes in arsenic, but arsenic's naturally occurring, so.
Yeah, arsenic and
it's-
radon.
Yeah,
that's-
it's,
No, the arsenic comes from the underlying stone, or it's from the apple trees?
It's from the soil in the apple tree. The soil in which the apple
I don't
trees
know.
are growing. It's a dirt thing.
Yeah, they just spray them with arsenic. That's what I heard.
But I think the
also-
growth of the apple, I mean, it's not the poisonous
in the
plant.
seed.
Okay, yeah. It's in the seed, or it's in the tree, or it's in the dirt that the tree is planted in, I don't know.
Surprised that the conservation reason have some type of more rigorous fill rules.
So just imagine, like, they clean up the Smith property, they take the trucks to, like, do a crossing in Century Mill,
Yeah.
like, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And so you do,
I think records of where it's coming from is,
yeah.
and, well, aren't brownfields, isn't that like,
EPA.
yeah, is it under
it's
some?
regulated.
isn't
They
it-
can't just.
Well,
take that
those are the
material.
regulated ones, but then there's like, a big old farm and they've got like their garbage pit where they put batteries
Yeah,
and
so
oil
it's
drums and tires, and
I
that's
mean,
like,
to require a soil test, is that overly,
if you can just Yeah, look at other language.
Sure, I'll take a look.
A
And
soil
it
test
depends on where they're
expensive?
getting the soil from. I mean, if they're purchasing it, then yeah, it's gonna be clean because whoever's selling it has to
Right.
meet those standards for,
Right.
residential use. But it's just when they're taking it from another site that has that material available, that's when we're not gonna
I
know.
mean, I think if you're saying that it's for residential use, it probably should either be purchased or be tested somehow. If you say like, if not purchased from,
We can
if
certainly
not purchased from some regulated,
It's just,
have it
maybe
be tested or,
maybe it's just getting the, the engineer, like Fred or whoever is doing it,
How much was it good for you?
inspect.
well, I know if I bought in one of those areas, I would want to know that the fill is clean, so I think we should,
Well, that would require chemical testing, so that's a whole other, I mean, that would have to be sent, they would have to take samples and send it to the lab, and it's not just looking at it, it's,
well, yeah, as I was saying, this soil test or whatever, I don't know.
We'll talk to Fred about that one and
Does soil
just see.
testing
if-
for really short money. It's for, garden plots, but they'll tell you like lead content
I
and
don't
stuff
think
like that.
that's crazy expensive to do a soil test, but.
well, I think if
Depends
you're
how much
talking
you
about,
test for.
yeah, I mean, if you're talking about a subdivision and you're bringing in a significant amount of fill, I think it could get expensive.
Okay.
Section 6264, bituminous concrete pavement, I highlighted that because Harold Brown has recommended that we increase pavement depth to 16 inches, or excuse me, 6 inches or 8 inches. He, basically, when I talked to him, his statement was that the road that goes under 495, I'm drawing a blank. That Old Bay Road?
South Bolton?
South Bolton, it's South Bolton Road?
Yeah.
Anyway, that section of road actually has a thicker pavement than what's now required. It has, he thinks about 8 inches of pavement, and it's like 50 or 60 years old. He's had to do very little maintenance to
So
it.
it's 8 inches of asphalt?
Mhm.
It's not, he's not talking about like what's under the asphalt?
No, just the asphalt.
Jesus.
And it's maintained really well, so he would like to see that implemented in all subdivisions.
Okay, so can you just run that by Fred?
Oh, I think what I'll do is I'll have, once we're done making the edits and we're closer to the final version, I'll have Fred go through the entire document.
So who wants to do,
Jesus.
Harold wants to do how much? He wants to do 6 inches instead of 4?
Anywhere from 6 to 8, so.
6 to 8, okay. Okay, well, let me see what.
Talking the little asphalt making company? Hey, if it saves them the town money in the long run, then I'm all for it.
Well, let's see what Fred says.
Page 35, under 6268 sidewalks. I've added, at the request of Public Way Safety, the sidewalk along frontage. I've also required that lanes have a sidewalk on one side, along with minor streets. Before, they didn't require a sidewalk.
What is that first addition? How does that change it? If we're all along the streets, now we're all along the frontage. What's the difference? So before the addition, we've got a sidewalk
Well,
width 4 feet.
This means you have to add it to the road you connect to, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
maybe I
okay,
can-
that's the
yeah,
difference. Okay, all right.
If that's not clear, I can.
No, it is. My brain's not working. That makes sense.
1 hour at a time.
We talked this though, like, if it's in an area that doesn't make sense, you waive it, right?
So
And that's
up to
down
you.
here.
Why?
She's adding that D.
Why do you want it along the frontage? I mean, if there's no other connecting sidewalk, what's the point?
Yes, because eventually there will be.
That's the idea.
Mobility
To
committee.
get more money pursuant to subparagraph D on the waiver, right? Come on. Make that calculation it up.
So you gotta start somewhere.
The sidewalks to nowhere. 6,300 is ours.
I mean,
Thank you.
that may not even be possible. I guess, well, no, I guess it is.
And if it's not possible, we gotta install a waiver.
Okay, so that's section D with waiver. And then I've added section 6300, and this is where the damage, the damage came in. And this actually was language that came from town council at one point, so. And then I did highlight under section 7111, the street acceptance plan. I think I'm going to go ahead and make that more defined. I think it will just be clear. Right now, there's not a whole lot in there about street acceptance, and there's a whole process that you need to go through. So
You said town council wrote 6300, or you did?
the town council provided it to the old town planner, because they were talking about adding in.
I wouldn't use the word owner, I'd use the word applicant. It might be splitting hairs, and it's kind of semantics, but it makes it sound like the public or private streets are ultimately owned by the town. So paid for by the owner.
I forget what section it was in, but there was, I think it was the pre-construction, it was said something about terms owner, contractor, and something else.
Oh, did it?
Are basically equivalent.
All right. Should be a capitalized term.
But that's a good question. I mean, what would you prefer to see throughout most of the document?
Applicant. Applicant or developer.
Search
And not owner, so
And not
applicant.
owner, yeah.
And then does town council review all this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Town council will review it, Beck Hamlin will review it. So next steps moving forward, I'm going to continue to work on the edits. And like Jonathan had recommended, I'm going to look at surrounding towns to see if there are any other conditions in there that I think are applicable and would be good. And then once I get to that point, I'm going to schedule a meeting with all the other departments, and I'm going to get input from Conservation and from Harold, and we'll hash it all out together, and then I'll bring it back to the planning board, and then we can decide whether or not we're ready to do the public hearing.
So what is it, a public hearing, and then we as a board approve it? It's not a town meeting type of a thing?
Yes.
You said that to somebody before in the audience, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Somebody brought that up.
this is our babies.
Okay.
So bylaws, like the law of the town, this is just simply the regulations that this
Okay, our
this
rules,
board.
our
yes,
board's rules.
correct.
Okay.
Our in-house.
I know at one point with Northwoods, the road acceptance fee came up, like that potentially ours was more than other things. Is that something we want to look at, or is that not in here? That's in somewhere else?
Yeah, that's
I
the
think-
fee schedule. And
I
that's
think
approved
that
by
was just
board.
related to, I thought that was related to Chuck Black and his partners going bankrupt.
There was, yeah.
He was, he was saying, I'd like to pay less because.
I thought he also said, I thought he said the calculation was high. Comparatively speaking.
I think you did compare to other towns.
I
and-
did.
And it seemed a little high, but I don't know.
It seemed a little high, but other towns do have higher, I mean,
Okay.
I don't think you're comparing apples to
Okay.
apples, because some towns have higher application fees associated with subdivisions, and they may not have the street acceptance
Okay,
fee,
I see that.
so it's, I think at the end of the day,
As long as you
it might
think
be
it's
a
good,
wash.
yeah, whatever.
What was it, 7,000? Or was it?
It was like $3 for each linear
Oh,
foot.
right.
And I think he had like 5,000 linear feet, so you had to pay like 15,000. He tried to split it. You wanted to have. Yeah.
Well, this is never going to be a profit center for town, especially at the rate of building that we do. So as long as it covers our legal fees for registering the deed, I think that's the end result that we want.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have a Christmas
What I'm
party
here
at
for.
that rate.
I really like that.
I'm trying some business of extorting money from people. I'm not a good politician.
Yes.
So there's only 2 articles? 9 and 10, so then there's
We chopped a lot out.
Those are pretty straightforward.
So I don't know who wants to present which article.
Jonathan?
We don't have to figure that out tonight.
So,
Yeah, but I was
I think
against
Eric
it.
needs to work on the overlay.
Well, no, but I was against it. Yeah, you guys strong on it.
Did, straight up.
There was a compromise. We went over.
You did. I did move the needle.
We moved it up.
Yeah.
Moved it up. What did we say, 10 instead of 8?
Yeah.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Eric, last night at advisory, we discussed the articles, and advisory also has concerns about that article. They're worried that there will be an amendment on the town, town meeting floor
You open it up.
to reduce it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So,
Sorry.
but, like advisory recommended, we just need to articulate our point and make sure that the town understands
We're
why
gonna
it
end
needs
up
to be
worse off than where we
done.
were.
Well, if someone gets up to reduce it, I'll get up and do a counter amendment to double it.
There you go.
I will be the bomb thrower, so to speak.
I'll be up there. Nobody's ever gonna use that
So
anyway.
this is all about
Oh,
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good possibility, too.
People are talking about it.
I know, there's this,
What? About what?
Using the bylaw,
Using what file?
the overlay.
it's on one property, I know that it would actually really
We're
benefit.
still worried about it?
What's it? No, he's saying-
No. People, he said nobody's ever gonna use it. I said,
Oh.
I'm hearing some rumblings, people are talking about it.
That, but he's not really.
You saw that person that was talking about the wood signs.
So actually, I'll totally get to the meeting with that. We're actually pretty far along.
Any planning gossip anybody wants to share? Any new construction?
Do you know, I asked you this.
What's going on with the 40B Sweeney?
ZBA approved the amendment to the comprehensive permit, so he's going to construction this spring.
He is?
Mhm.
Wow.
So that's how many units?
30.
Starting no
Single
earlier
family
than
units.
7 Monday
They're all
through Friday.
40B? Well, the whole thing's 40B,
Yeah,
which
same
means
condition that
10% or
was the
15%.
Davis Bank.
Right. Or
Does not help
subsidized.
me if the dump truck pulls out of there and gets in front of my wife so she misses the train. It will be a problem.
So they're all like,
Yeah, we butters.
they're all cottage, what is it, cottage
Way
style?
far, more
Single family
500
houses.
feet.
Single family?
So it's,
From their property
he's
line to
subdividing
yours.
the property into six
So,
lots, each lot is
far
gonna have
away.
6 houses with shared septic and,
6 or
About
5?
a part of a mile from
6 houses.
the bottom of
So
the
it's-
run to the end.
I'm sorry, it's 5 lots with 6 houses.
1 house or
Each
so.
lot.
Do they have garages connected or remote garages?
Remote,
Okay.
yeah.
And it's less units than was originally permitted? Yeah, okay, cool.
Yep.
So he can, I missed that, I know you just said it, he can do septic systems? It's not,
Shared,
it's
yeah,
not
because
wastewater treatment plant?
he's, that's the whole reason why he's subdividing the
Right,
property.
okay.
Into 5 lots, to be able to do it shared, otherwise he would have
So
to.
he doesn't come under the subdivision rules and,
No, it's a 40B, so it's through ZBA for a
Okay.
comprehensive permit. The idea is that they don't have to go to every board, it's conducted just to ZBA.
so Clinton
So it's
Savings,
80/20?
Yeah.
80% market, okay.
so Clinton
Yeah.
Savings Bank is starting, I saw some equipment out front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
saw that.
came today to get signed off on their demo.
The roof shingles looked like they were gone or something.
Were those asbestos?
Yeah, there was, but they've already removed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about Bolton Office Park? I think there was somebody that
Things worth like
was
50,000.
going to be signing in for some space over
he buying
there.
wine?
You weren't at liberty to say who, or you didn't know who.
I do know who, and I
Really
just,
nice.
Are you at liberty to say who yet?
oh, yeah, I know, it's
Okay.
public information, I already have contact information for the company, it's VMS, right? That's going,
Oh, yeah.
I had mentioned it to EDC.
You mentioned it, yeah.
I think it's VMS.
We were supposed to, actually,
What
we're
is
supposed
that?
to,
That's not VMware, right? That's someone else.
I don't know the details.
Okay.
I can't remember.
But do you know what
Sorry.
percentage? Aren't they taking over a lot? Like,
Almost, I think almost the entire space that Amulix had. I think it's slightly less.
so it'll be fully rented?
No, Amulix left, so
Oh.
they're only about 50% full with
Okay.
VMS.
Okay.
It's better than it is now.
Yeah.
So Clinton Savings Bank is starting, so no,
Eventually, we were gonna have to do a pre-construction
Clinton Savings
site
Bank.
visit for that project. So once the snow melts a little bit more and they get closer to breaking ground, we'll have to coordinate a time.
So they're doing the demo and then,
So they're doing the demo and then, they essentially could start construction. So they're gonna have to put up erosion controls and we'll do the site visit and
the tree protection.
tree protection and, yeah.
No operator for Condyne yet?
Not, I haven't heard from Mark Dibb.
He said there were like 2 potentials or something last
Yeah.
time.
And then what's up with Cobham?
Cobham?
Cobham's sad, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
even
it's still
know.
gone.
What?
So the M is still gone.
Comma.
Kava.
I would love to see that space filled.
Yeah, me too.
I can't imagine with what the, it seemed to be a kind of specialized operation.
Pop factory. That's what it was going to be, right?
It's not really what we were
With the
hoping
dispensary in
for.
back.
Just wait a
We
year.
shouldn't even laugh about that, because we'll get people in
Just
here.
wait a year and it's gonna be legal everywhere, so we're not gonna have any need of medical marijuana stuff.
One last quick thing.
Oh, we have to
I'm
approve.
sorry. Yeah, this was the tri-party agreement for 283 Long Hill Road common driveway. You guys approved it last year. This agreement, it just never got signed, so it's just a technicality. Well, they only provided one line, but I think you the whole board can sign it.
Any special power?
No, this is it.
No, it doesn't
District
matter.
fire.
I feel like y'all should have our own bulk access to this.
It
So
was
this was
the
the agreement, the performance guarantee for the common driveway at 283 Long Hill Road.
And that was with the same guy, Erickson.
Exactly,
So
Walter
he
Erickson.
owned that one lot.
Yep, well, it's,
This is the one he was building for his son, I think, was it?
I actually have the meeting minutes from the last time you guys talked about it. Let's see.
Oh, this is the,
So, yeah, Ducharme and Dillis had done the estimate, Fred Hamley signed off on it, and then you guys motioned to approve the agreement subject to recording the plan. So Walter did record the plan, we just, the board hasn't signed it, so.
he's got the house sold?
This,
Oh,
this,
no, yeah.
He
no,
does?
yeah.
Okay.
He's already been issued the certificate of occupancy.
Okay, all right,
So this is
all
sort
right.
of late in coming, but.
this was the one where all the people didn't want the trees cut
Yes.
down.
I'm not that familiar
No,
with
that
this
was
because
it.
it was
That was-
before I
yeah.
got here.
Very narrow driveway, it was in disrepair. If we widen it to fix it, you're gonna lose a tree. Corin, I think was her last name. Who passed it
Do we
back?
have to sign more of these, or that's just your notes?
Oh my god.
Good, yeah, all right.
Oh yeah.
That's gone
That's
fine.
That doesn't make it to the whole meeting.
I need it to make
This
it
is
through
just
the
a
whole
copy,
meeting.
yeah.
I'm gonna start making you green juice and just bringing it. It's gonna be awesome.
What's green juice?
That's a honey.
Smoothies, and have kale and blueberries, tofu.
I'll even put ginger in it for you.
You should bring us all a shot.
And I chocolate ice
They
cream.
can be like
James's goodbye party.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'll ruin the party for you. Good.
Male.
Tenant, Southpaw, tenant? Anything? Is it just gonna be rumors forever?
Well,
I really think they're playing hardball with CVS.
I talked
That's just a total.
I talked to him in October and he said he had 70 people contacting him about the space.
But I think he's waiting for some really good.
So he's got
offer.
he's got a bunch of little interest from a bunch of tenants, and he's
Yeah.
looking for an elephant, you think?
Probably.
When we approve an elephant?
Do we have say?
I don't think we
How
have
does that
say at this
work?
point.
We don't, right?
He's just renting it out.
It's tenancy, he's got an occupancy, he can put whatever he
Yeah.
wants. If he wants to put a drive.
As long as it meets table of uses.
Yeah, no,
Right,
if it's
right.
outside the table of uses, then they have to come to us.
Do we allow pharmacy?
Yeah, I
What?
think so.
I believe
No,
so.
Yes.
it's not in the table of uses.
Pharmacies?
No, we allow drive-throughs only for pharmacies, so by
pharmacies, yeah.
the, we definitely allow pharmacies.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is that limited business there?
Let's put some yoga.
Yeah.
It's-
Yes, that's limited
yeah.
business. There are very few business, and that's not one of them. Yeah.
Did we get rid of business?
No, there's a few.
No, it was industrial, I think, or commercial. There was some other
Yeah.
one that.
Personally, I wouldn't mind a pharmacy there.
No, I'd be fine with it.
That septic is pre-existing non-conforming, so he's really tied to what the existing uses were. He really can't do anything.
Can't have a huge restaurant or something.
Well, he can have restaurant space, but it can't be more than what it was before.
Right, okay.
It wasn't much before.
I really doubt he'll be coming before planning board to get it, any changes in use.
A yoga studio would be awesome.
I have heard that.
Everybody wants
I
one.
heard, it's from somebody, but that they were asked to be a teacher at a yoga studio there, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But,
Don't make me come into depression tense, bro.
okay.
Just like-
Anything else, Erica?
We'll move on to Richie.
We have a motion to call this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
They have the greatest shorts ever.